For most of the last decade, we have been dependent on the Russians to get us to and from the International Space Station. So this has been a goal for quite some time for NASA to be able to return to the days when we could launch American astronauts from American soil. I'm sure most of you are aware that the space shuttle was flying for, wow, almost 30 years. 1980, I think, was the first one, and 2011 was the last one. So, boy, how time flies.
It was 81 to
81.
Yeah.
It had a long run and was an amazing machine, but the time came when we needed to move on. So the American Space Shuttle was retired, and see it's having a lovely time on a golf course in Florida. And two simultaneous side-by-side programs were initiated, one with Boeing, its Starliner, and the other with SpaceX, its Crew Capsule. And this image shows you not only the two mock-ups of the hardware, this was taken about a little over a year ago, but also the astronauts that have been selected to fly in those two different spacecraft. So both teams separately, independently moved forward in developing their spacecraft. Some like to characterize it as a little bit of a race. You know, you got the two different teams competing. Yes, they're competing. There's also, it's all NASA. So there's, we all have the same goal. So at the end of last year, there was, it was kind of neck and neck for a while, but at the end of the last year, Boeing's attempt to get to the International Space Station was thwarted. They were unable to get their crew capsule, their Starliner, up to the International Space Station. They had a problem at launch. Elon Musk's crew capsule, uncrewed with no one in it, did actually earlier that year successfully get there. And then in January, the final test for SpaceX for the crew emergency escape capability took place, and that was a great success. There we go. So as of January, it was pretty clear that SpaceX will be the company that gets the first American astronauts sent from American soil back up to the International Space Station. So here we have the Dragon crew capsule. There's a nice picture of it in the SpaceX facility. And April 17th, not too long ago, Jim Bridenstine tweeted the launch date, May 27th of this year. The SpaceX crew capsule, Dragon Crew, is scheduled to launch with astronauts to the International Space Station. And here are the astronauts that are slated to go on that first flight. In fact, Doug Hurley was the pilot on the last Atlantis flight. So these are NASA astronauts flying just new hardware procured from NASA through SpaceX, but designed and built entirely at SpaceX. Here is their mission patch, the first crewed flight back to the International Space Station. Here's another picture of them in these very cool and groovy space outfits. And a shot of them walking down the walkway from the tower when the astronauts have to walk out to where the capsule sits on top of the rocket is also newly designed and has kind of a nice, clean, modern design. So the astronauts are in quarantine, preparing to go so that they don't get sick and bring any bugs up to the International Space Station, but it is still on the docket. And in fact, today was an important day because there was a critical test of the Dragon parachute. And Tony sent this to me just a little bit. You can see it's from today at just a little afternoon that the parachute test was a success. So that was kind of another key thing to get us to May 27th and the launch of these astronauts. So we will be looking to May 27th for a launch. We've got a little picture of Jim Bridenstine there because he is strongly encouraging everybody to stay home. Do not go to the launch. It'd be obviously an historic flight, something you might want to see, but he wants us to stay home and stay safe in your jammies and not go down to see the Dragon launch to the International Space Station. A couple of years ago, there was kind of a joke when we weren't getting astronauts off of American soil that perhaps we needed to have a big trampoline for our NASA astronauts. But in fact, we don't need a large trampoline. We have a mission slated to go in this month. So we'll keep our eyes out on that, hope that everything keeps going. It's amazing that NASA is able to continue to do all this work and keep it all. It's got to keep it all going in the face of all of this shutdown. So something to keep your eyes on this month.